Nerd Reactor, roll out.
Hi, Isabella. Thank you so much for talking with me.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
We're talking towards the end of Shrinking season three. What a season it's been. Congratulations for joining the cast.
Thank you so much. What a treat it's been.
Did you watch the show before you joined season three?
I didn't. I am notoriously terrible at watching anything scripted. I love me a true crime, a documentary, or like reality TV. So I was very happy to be introduced to a good show.
What was the audition process like for you?
I didn't audition. I was very, very lucky. I had worked with
Oh,
Bill
wow.
before. Yeah.
Wow.
We did Head of the Class in 2022, I want to say. And
Oh,
so we
yeah,
knew
that's
each
right.
other from
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
And so he kind of just slipped me the role, and I was very grateful.
That's amazing because everybody on Shrinking is so perfectly cast. And I
Yeah.
think after, two seasons working with Luke, he could see that connection between you guys and it has worked so well and been so fun to watch.
Thank you. I mean, I feel like anybody could do well with Luke. He is such a freaking dream that it's like anybody would have done great.
And everyone talks about how they're not like their characters, but it's so funny with him because he's the most joyful
Yeah.
person, not a trace of anger, the
Just like the
friendliest,
biggest
sweetest.
teddy bear you've ever met, and you're like,
Yeah.
okay.
For me, I love One Day at a Time. I watched it constantly and everyone misses it. I'm sure people still bring it up all the time.
Yeah.
And then seeing you the first moment in Shrinking, just coming in as this dynamic force, all grown up, was really, really fun to watch.
Insane. It's such a departure from Elena that I'm like, people have been like, is that you in Shrinking? And I'm like, yeah, yeah, it
But at
is.
the same time, there are some, I feel like, personality similarities because she was always very outspoken, very
Yeah,
herself, very loud when she wanted to be. So I can see it
totally.
in you too.
Totally.
What was it like the first day that you worked with Luke, your first day on set?
A dream. My first day, actually, I made quite the entrance. I broke a set the first day I was there. We were doing, it was the scene where I'm introduced, and it's Krista talking to them at that like picnic table, and
Yeah.
it's Trey and me by the food truck, and we were waiting for them to do their part of the scene. And I was like leaning on the food truck, and it fell, and just like it's metal, so it like I made a huge noise. All of the water jugs that were on it exploded all over the set, all over me. So, aside from that,
That actually would have been so funny if they showed that happening in the background during the scene.
I wish they would have. It was Zach Braff was directing, and he like screamed over and was like, "Are we not giving you enough attention, Isabella?" And I was like, "Never come to me." But it was a dream. Like truly, everybody, every actor friend I've told that story to is mortified, and I'm like, if it weren't that group of people, I would have been too, but they were so lovely and like so warm from the beginning that I was like, it's fine. We're fine.
So many of the friends, partners, side characters on this show come in for sort of very dramatic, intense storylines. And then by contrast, your character is pure joy and fun and, signifies um, everyone, I feel like she's a great force for everyone around her, and then really allows Sean to move on in this chapter of his life that he's been working towards for years. So, how does it feel to be the foil to some of that sometimes darkness in the show?
It like pretty insane. But also like yes, like a lot of people come in from that, but this is such a cast of like comedic geniuses, and especially the main cast, like getting to watch them work is so insane because they're good every take and they're good no matter what. And so I was a little nervous coming in. Like I was like, okay, like these are some real players we're playing with here, and like my job is to be comedic relief and also to like bring Luke out of seriousness and be sparkly and fun and energetic and also still make her grounded and a person that fits into this like dark of a world that it can be sometimes. So I was a little nervous, but again, like they're such a community and such an ensemble that like it's so easy to slip into their world and it makes so much more sense once you're with them that once I was with them, I was like, oh, okay, got it.
I talked to Rachel, who plays Summer, a few weeks ago, and we
The
were talking
best.
about how much fun she had filming the club scene and
Mhm.
the dinner scene as well, just getting to play off of you. So
Yes.
much fun.
She's the best. And that was like Luke, Rachel, and I had one of my first like big scenes. And they were such a delight. They're such actors. There's no ego, there's nothing. It was just like all of us running our words and trying to figure out what made the most sense and playing and trying things. And funny enough, that's not always how it is. So they're a breath of fresh air.
We hear a little bit about what Sean and Marisol's early relationship was like. He basically says, I was deployed, we had a lot of drama, it ended really bad. And in my head, I'm just picturing, why can't we get a prequel where we see these characters' full backstories? They could
I
H
don't
you
think
both
anybody
down.
has said no to that. I,
No.
I think we can ask. I think we can put that into the universe. I would love that.
I think that it's so interesting that like the way that you fit in and how this relationship seems so seamless. And then for me, as someone who's watched Sean on his journey, made me realize there's so much about him we still don't know. Because
Totally.
we pick up with him, right after he's been deployed and at his lowest. But,
Hmm.
he had obviously this whole life, and
Yeah.
it's really rewarding to watch him get to find himself and forgive himself and move on. And when he tries to be very serious towards you, Marisol is like,
Yeah. It's like, who are you talking to?
he's like, we don't need to do a therapy session. I'm literally here to have fun, and I'm glad
Totally.
that we're
And I
reconnected.
love that about like that's something Luke and I talked a lot about quite a bit of like what does it look like to be first loves with someone and to have that kind of history and like your first love is so meaningful and like for all that has gone down with Sean and also we don't know much about Marisol and like what she's been through. Like we know her dad's sick and like that's why she had to move back. But what does that look like to love each other and have that kind of history and then come back to each other at this point in life and the different coping mechanisms and how much he wants to like talk things out and be very like by the book and Marisol is more in like a free-spirited like let's just move on and keep living life way and it's very art imitates life, am I right?
We leave Sean at a very hopeful, optimistic point this season. Everything's going so well, which is so rewarding to see, the progress he's made in therapy. And now he's actually ready for this relationship and his new job, his new living situation. Where
Mhm.
would you hope to see their relationship go next season?
I mean, listen, I've been pitching a wedding from day one. I'm like, Shrinking seems to like to have like a wedding per season. We
Yeah.
can be next. But no, I do think that it's interesting. Ooh, when will this come out? How much do you know? How much
I've
did
seen
you
the
know
whole
about?
season.
Okay,
So,
you know how they move in? He moves in with Trey. That we were like, what does that mean? What does that mean for this couple? Because from like we immediately were like, oh, I think Marisol would be like, oh, so you don't see a future with me? Like you're moving in with your friend? Like what is next
yeah,
for
we
us?
don't get to see her full reaction to that.
Yeah, and I think that's a really cool place to go. I think that those kinds of conversations are not often modeled for us in media, and that kind of next step and conflict and showing how like even when you are in a happy, loving relationship, there will still be a lot of trial and error, and I think that's a really cool place to go for them next and see like how with their very different ways of interacting with each other and like his way of I'm sure he wants to like sit down and go to therapy and like talk about their feelings and I'm certain that Marisol will be like and fuck you and I'm leaving and I think that'll be really cool but I do think that they're good for each other. I mean, I'm very biased, but it is so fun to see his character be silly and loose, and I would love to see how that changes him moving forward.
And I think so. I mean, I don't know for sure at what point the writers knew they were getting a season four because we found
Mhm.
out as an audience, like right when season three was starting to air. But
Yeah.
they definitely wrote everything to where it could have wrapped up on such a perfect note this season, but
Yeah.
also left everyone in very different places than we've seen them
Mhm.
before.
Yeah.
So now that Sean does have this new chapter of his life, Paul has left the practice, so Sean's therapy and his day to day will obviously look different. I feel like there's just endless possibilities of exploring all of these other characters and where it could go.
Absolutely. And everybody's relationships and dynamics are going to shift. Like Paul is such the captain of the ship that it's like, okay, what happens next with the rest of us?
Have you been watching the show every week since the
Yes,
season?
absolutely.
It's gonna be tough sitting and waiting for season four. I'm already so excited.
And it takes so long. Both as a viewer and an actor, you're like, wait, we need to know now what happens next. And I did this thing during the season where I didn't read any of the scripts besides my stuff with Luke because I'm such a fan of the show. And I was like, I just want to see it. I want to see what actually happens. And every episode, I'm like, I still don't know how it ends. I know a little bit of the finale because I was in it, but most of it, I don't know how it ends. And it's Oh, I wish season four was like in the fall.
And if she were to go to therapy, which doesn't seem like is her vibe, but I think she would do best with Jimmy, Paul, or Gabby as the therapist.
Ooh, that's a great question. I feel like she might need some jimmying. I feel like she needs somebody a little outside of the box to really like get in her face. She feels very strong and like stubborn and set in her ways to me. And so I think a Jimmy to like really get under her skin and get her to move differently and feel differently would be the right vibe.
Did you get to have any Harrison interactions on set?
Not on set, funny enough. I met him, we were at an event and I was presenting and he was getting an award. And so we met on the red carpet. And he is so lovely that, like, all I want, my real dream is for Marisol and Sean to have couples therapy in this next season so that we have to go to Harrison Ford to fix us.
Yeah, I mean that could be any way that they want to do it. It could be Zoom, they could go to him, he
Exactly.
could come
And
back
he
to
said
the
he would
practice.
Zoom Gabby, so
Yeah.
like he
Yeah.
should be around.
Okay.
Yeah,
Him as a couples therapist would be fascinating. That's something we
iconic.
haven't seen yet. Wow.
Yeah,
I love that idea.
that could be really fun.
Well, just before we wrap up, I have to ask, I mean, I'm sure you talk to your one day at a time cast members, but is there ever any rumblings of people wanting to bring it back in some form one day?
This is the thing that we always talk about is we would do it in a heartbeat. I was just with Todd Grinnell, Gloria, Phil Lewis, and Pam Fryman literally 2 days ago. And we were all like, how do we get this show back? And we talk about it every time we see each other. And we love it. And like the behind the scenes of the industry is so funny because so many people are like, we want something like one day at a time. And we're like, we'll do it. You can have one day at a time. The entire cast will be back tomorrow. So any of us would say yes in a heartbeat, but the powers that be are in charge and that's not us, unfortunately.
I think though that we see that it's never too late for something to come back and you never know when shows come back around. I mean, look at Scrubs right now. And
Exactly.
they got the whole
Absolutely.
main cast back and this great new
Mhm.
cast too. Everyone's loving it. So
Yeah. Maybe we
yeah,
just need to get Bill Lawrence attached. He seems to
yeah,
be able to get things done.
yeah, he's really having a moment right now.
He's been having a moment for 30 years. I'm like, who are you? Do you rest? Go to sleep.
I don't see how he could possibly rest.
I don't think he does. I've never seen him not be moving.
Well, this has been such a fun conversation. Thank you so much. I have loved, as I've said, seeing their relationship, and I'm really excited to see how
Thank you
where it
so,
goes.
so much. This is so fun.